What's up, guys? Today I am going to be giving you guys my April wrap-up slash May TBR. It is I'm going to say a tentative TBR because I don't like TBRs. I'm an impulse reader, so if I want to read something, I'm just going to pick it up. Doesn't matter if it's on my TBR or not, but this is it's going to be a tentative May TBR and my April wrap-up. In the month of April, I actually read 2 books and audiobooked 4 for a total of 6 books. The first book, I'm not going to go in order that I finished them. I'm just going to go in the order that I've piled them up here. So the first one in the pile is The Rune Lords by David Farland. I know the glare is horrible. It's because the window is literally right there in the corner. So I'm going to try to prevent the glare as much as possible. Anyways, this is the first book in the Rune Lords saga by David Farland, and I've already done a review video about this book, so I'm not going to go too far into this book. If you want to see more of my thoughts on this book, which it was really good. It was amazing. Like, I bought this because I was coming off of the Wheel of Time, and I wanted another series kind of similar to Wheel of Time, and I wasn't really expecting this to measure up to Wheel of Time, but it definitely surprised me with how good it was. I'm not saying it's comparable, I'm not saying it's better than Wheel of Time, by all means. I'm not saying it's better than Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time was amazing. And I will do, I plan on rereading that series hopefully soon, or re-audiobooking that series hopefully soon, and I will do a series wrap-up after I audiobook that series again. But that's not going to be for a good while because it took me 6 months to binge the audiobooks the first time I did that. So yeah, anyways, Wheel of Time was great. And I picked this up coming off of Wheel of Time because I wanted another epic fantasy series that wasn't quite as long, and this one is not. The series is 8 books long, and again, I've already done a review, so if you want to know more of my thoughts on this book, go ahead and check out my review for this book. And the next 4 books, the next book I'm going to show you guys was for the Stephen King 2018 Read-a-thon that was started by Binge Reader a couple years ago, and they just got a Goodreads page, and I just got into this read-along last. And the book for that read-along was The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Again, I've already done a review video for this, and I have a review posted on Goodreads for both of these books that I've shown you already. So if you want to know more of my thoughts on these books, check out my review videos, check out Goodreads. I'm not going to go in depth into these books. This one, though, I will say I had higher hopes for it than what I got out of it because of it being Stephen King. I was really excited for it, and I didn't feel like it lived up to what I was expecting from it. So anyways, that's that one. And then the last 4 books that I read this month, because I audiobooked them, were the first 4 books in the Dark Tower series. The first 3 I have physical copies of, the 4 I'll show you a picture of, and I'm trying to get them all in the same edition because this edition is absolutely gorgeous. So the first book is The Gunslinger. The second one is The second one is Drawing of the Three, and the third one is The Wastelands, and then the fourth one, let me unlock my iPad, is Wizard and Glass. I'm really enjoying the series so far. I'm not going to do a video review until I get done with the series, and then I will do a series wrap-up when I am done with the series. I am about halfway through the 5th one right now. I'm the Wolves of the Kala, and I'm enjoying it. It is annoying a little bit that they did switch narrators twice now. Um, they had one guy, I don't remember his name, but he read they had one guy read the first book, and then they switched to Frank Muller, who read the second, third, and fourth book, and then they switched back to the first guy for the fifth book. So that's about the only thing that's really been just kind of a little annoying with the series so far, but I am really enjoying this series as a whole. This is my second time attempting the series. The first time I listened to The Gunslinger and I liked The Gunslinger, and then I started listening to Drawing of the Three, and it was just so slow and so it didn't keep me interested when I was reading it through the first time, and this was years and years ago. So yeah, much more successful second attempt, and I will be doing a series wrap up once I get done with the series. So those are all the books I finished in April, and my May TBR, the only reason why I really have a TBR for May is because of the one read-a-thon to rule them all that's going on right now. It started on April 29th and it goes through May the 12th, and it was started by Ashley over at Don't Have a Degree in Reading. I will link her channel down below, and there's like posts. I don't know who all of them are, but I will link Ashley's channel down below, and you can see her announcement video and her TBR. I think she posted a TBR. Pretty sure she posted a TBR. But the challenges for that read-a-thon are a fantasy book by an author of color. The second one is a fantasy book with a person of color as the main character. Third challenge is a fantasy book under 300 pages. Fourth challenge is a fantasy book over 1,000 pages. Fifth challenge is a standalone fantasy, read a standalone fantasy book. Sixth challenge is to read a fantasy book with a non-European setting. Seventh challenge is to read a book by a non-English speaking author or an author whose first language is not English. And the eighth challenge is to read a fantasy book with LGBTQIA+ representation. I have done a TBR video for this read-a-thon already, but I figured I'd just retouch on that on my TBR for that, because that last video I did was absolutely horrible, and it was rushed, and it was just not what I wanted it to be. I was trying to get it done before my husband got out of the shower, because I don't like filming when my husband's home, because I know he does it to be funny, but he can be an ass sometimes when I'm trying to do this and he's home. So I tried to do it while he was in the shower and just get it done real quick before he got out of the shower. So my TBR for that one is 4-ish books long right now. I may scratch one of the books depending on if I like it or not, because all of my books all of my books cover multiple challenges. I have one book in this pile that covers 6 of the 8 challenges, and I'll tell you that one here in a minute. But the first one, and one of the books I started in April, and I'm about halfway through it right now, halfway through the audiobook, is Wolves of the Kala by Stephen King. And this edition of the paperback is 1,046 pages long, and one of the main characters is a person of color. Susanna is a disabled black lady. She doesn't have legs. Her legs got cut off by a train above the knee, just above the knee. So I'm not going to go more into that than I already have, because if I do, I will spoil things for those of you that haven't read the series yet. So yeah, anyways, that covers those 2 challenges. The next book is the one that I'm kind of questionable about, because I've really only heard about this author from a couple of booktubers, one of them being Roya over at Unicorn Hunter Books. definitely go check out her channel because she does a lot of fantasy-based videos, and she also has a book out called The Unicorn Hunter, so definitely go check her out. But the next book on my TBR is Magic's Pawn by Mercedes Lackey, and I was told, she said that this was a really good place to start with Mercedes Lackey's books. And a couple of the other booktubers that are helping to co-host this read-a-thon also said that this was a good LGBTQIA plus representation book, and it was also a really good place to jump in with Mercedes Lackey's books. So I'm going to give this one a try. I'll probably give it about 50 pages or so, and if I just don't get absolutely sucked into it, then I'm going to put it aside and maybe pick it up again later when I actually have, you know, a little bit more leisure time to read it. Because I've got another book in my TBR that also covers LGBTQIA plus representation. And the third book that is on my TBR that also covers that challenge is, I'm going to show you the omnibus bind-up of this trilogy, but I am only planning on reading the first book, Read-a-thon, and it is The 100,000 Kingdoms out of the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. This one, The 100,000 Kingdoms itself, covers author of color, person of color, main character, and LGBTQIA plus representation. If I have the time during this read-a-thon to read this whole omnibus edition of the trilogy, this book itself clocks in at about 1,400 pages, so that would also cover the 1,000+ page fantasy challenge, but I don't know if I'm going to have time to read the whole trilogy, so that is why I am counting Wolves of the Kala for my 1,000+ page book and not this one, because I don't know if I'm going to have time to finish the whole trilogy bind up. Okay, and the last book that is a definite on my TBR for this read-a-thon is My Neighbor Totoro. And the original story is by Hayao Miyazaki. The novel is by Sugiko Kubo. And it is translated by Jim Hubbard. So this is the book that covers 6 of the challenges. It is written by a person of color. The main character is a person of color. It is set in a non-European setting. It is under 300 pages. It is written by a non-English speaking author, and it is a standalone. And I've actually I started this like 2 days ago, and I didn't get much reading done on it the first day I read it. I started on it, but I did get a lot done today, so I'm about 80 pages left in this one. It's been a really quick read because the print for the pages is quite large, and it is also illustrated. It's got some really cute little illustrations in here, and as soon as I finish reading the book, I do plan on watching the movie. I did just buy the movie a couple weeks ago, so as soon as I get done reading this, I do plan on watching the movie because it looks really cute, and I just got to the part in the book with the cat bus, and I really am excited for the cat bus because I love cats. My cat's right here next to me right now, loving on my books. My cat loves books too. So anyways, so those 4 books are the books that I absolutely plan on reading for the one read-a-thon to rule them all, which ends on May 12th. And like I said, I will link Ashley's channel below, so that way you guys can watch the announcement video for her and find out who all the other co-hosts are. And if you decide you want to try and participate, then that's great. The next book I'm going to talk about, stop knocking over my books. Go on. The next book I want to talk about is a book that I started probably about 2 weeks ago, and it's taken me a long time to get through it, partially because it's so big, and partially because I read a little bit slower than I feel like a lot of other people do, but I am almost finished with this one too, so I should be able to finish it before the end of the week. Hopefully by Friday I'll have it finished and I can just knock it out, put it aside. It is Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is the second book in the Rune Lords series. I think I'm about 40 pages from being done with this one, and I'm really liking it. I'm just going to read you this little blurb on the back from Kevin J. Anderson. Brotherhood of the Wolf continues the intriguing premise established in the Rune Lords, but with more intensity in every way. Passion, tragedy, heroism, and sheer epic scope. And Kevin J. Anderson did not lie. The battles in this book have been just, especially the main battle that I'm kind of in the middle of right now, even though the book's almost over, it has just been absolutely massive in scale. Like Lord of the Rings at Helm, like Two Towers, Helm's Deep battle, massive scale. So, I mean, I'm really excited to finish this book, but I've also kind of feel like I've slowed down with reading this book only because I just got a bunch more books. As you can tell, my bookshelf is actually really horrible looking right now because I had to cram a whole bunch of books in there after my book haul video. And so anyways, I got some books that I'm really excited to read. And so I think I'm going to take a break from this series for the rest of the month, and then pick the third book up next month, so that way I don't burn myself out on the series, and we'll go from there. But I should have a review video for you guys for this one, hopefully a spoiler-free review. I did have somebody comment on my review for the Rune Lords video that they had just picked this up, so if you're watching this video, don't watch the review for this book until you are done with the second book, please, because I'm going to try my damnedest to not spoil anything, but I may spoil something from the first book on accident. So please, if you have not read the first book, don't watch my review video for this book until you have read the first book. If you don't care about spoilers and you don't plan on reading the books, then fine. But if you are going to read the books and you haven't read the first book yet, don't watch this video until after you read the first book. Now, the next book, I may try to squeeze in with this read-a-thon if I have time. Again, if I have time. If not, then I'm going to prioritize this over finishing the Inheritance trilogy, only because it's so short. And that one is Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. And this would also cover a non-European setting because it is set in Russia. This book I picked up because I've heard a lot of good things about it from all of the booktubers that I watch videos for. And I'm really excited because I've never read a book set in Russia, and I've never read anything about Russian folklore before. So I may try to squeeze this one in close to the end of the read-a-thon, just maybe. If I get through 100,000 Kingdoms and maybe Magic's Pawn, I don't know. I'm going to pick that one up after I'm done with Totoro and see how I feel about it. And if I'm not feeling it within the first 50 pages, I'm going to set it aside and pick up N.K. Jemisin. And then if I finish 100,000 Kingdoms and I still have a decent amount of time left, I'm probably going to pick up this one and just try to squeeze it in with the read-a-thon. But I don't know yet. This is kind of a tentative portion. This is like the tentative portion of my TBR right here. I really want to read this book, but only if I have time to read this book during the TBR, during the read-a-thon. The last book on my TBR for this month is one that is the reason why I have slowed down so much on Brotherhood of the Wolf. And it is the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. It is Malice by John Gwynne. I picked this up. I heard about it first from Kitty G's channel, and she said it was amazing. And I have this one, and I have the first book up there. But I'm really excited to pick this one up, because it looks beautiful, and it's a big paperback. Look at this, it's huge. But I'm not going to pick this up till after the read-a-thon, because I've got a lot of books to go through for the readathon, and then I'm not really counting anything else for the rest of the month. I'm not going to really make a TBR after this for the rest of the month because this is a big book. And it is going to take me, oh, how long is it? It is la-di-da-di-da-di-da. Extras. Not counting the extras. It is 628 pages. So it will probably take me a couple of weeks to get through this. Mostly because most of the time I spent reading is at work, around cleaning and orders, drop-off orders, and things like that. So it'll probably take me a couple weeks to read. That'll probably be the last book I get to this month. We will definitely see and find out. I think that's it for this one. I will probably be coming back, not next Monday, but the Monday after, with a readathon wrap-up video for you guys. And that will be where I cover all of the books that I read for the readathon and give you summaries about them. And that'll probably be where I do like mini reviews for them. So I probably won't do specific book reviews for those books. I will just probably do like little mini reviews in my One Readathon to Rule Them All wrap-up video that should be coming in a couple of weeks. And like I said, I should have the review video for Brotherhood of the Wolf up for you guys probably early next week, maybe Tuesday, because my husband has a 4-day weekend this weekend, and if I finish it over the weekend, I'm not going to film it on Monday because he'll be home, and like I said, he likes to be a jerk sometimes, even though he does it to be funny. So I think that's it for this one, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!